going to try a screencast here and see if I can get this out of my way. Okay, this is for chapter 20, and this is set up very similar to one of the problems that several of you have asked me about by email. So let's read the details. We have White House Paper Company manufacturing newsprint. The product is manufactured in two departments, paper making and converting. Pulp is first placed into a vessel at the beginning of paper making production. The following information concerns production in the paper making department for March. Basically, all we've got here, we have a work in process account for the paper making department. We have in the paper making department, as of March 1st, we already had 2,600 units. Those units were 35% completed. That means that 35% was done in February. Okay, and it's coming to us with a value of $91.39. We're going to add direct materials, 105,000 whole units worth, and the value is $330,750. We have labor, and we have factory overhead also being added into here. Then we need to figure out what is the amount that is transferred out. They're telling us 103,900 units were transferred out of paper making into converting, and we have to be able to assign a dollar amount. And then we have an ending balance of 3,700 units. They are 80% complete. That 80% is what was done this month in March, and we need to be able to assign a dollar value to that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start over here. This is an Excel spreadsheet. You can find it on Canvas in the module area for chapter 20. I've uploaded it now. It should be there. It does not calculate the answers for you or anything. It really was just intended for classroom purposes, just to print out and have some blank paper with boxes and everything to help organize this. But there's no reason you can't use it on the screen if you want to. Anyway, you're going to start in the second half of the screen, second half of the Excel spreadsheet. When you open it up, it's probably going to come right here. So scroll down until you see units to account for. If you happen to print this out, this will be the second page, or should be the second page. Also, if you go to print this out, you might need to set your margins to narrow and possibly have to adjust a few of the columns so that it doesn't cut off part of the right margin on the upper part of this. Okay, but anyway, here we go. Beginning inventory. It says we have 2,600 units, so we're going to put 2,600 units. How many did we start during the period? 105,000. So all together with what we had to begin with and what we started, we are going to have to account for the sum of those two numbers. And of course, sum didn't want to work for me. Let's just do this. Equals that plus that. Okay, and now we're going to ignore the fact there's a blank box down there that we didn't need. Now we're going to move to cost. Okay, the beginning inventory. I see what it did. It just moved my box on me. I'm going to move it down there. Okay, the beginning inventory started out with 9,139 in cost. To that, we added materials with a value of 330,750. Okay, we're pulling this information from right over here. The conversion costs are the total of the labor and the factory overhead, so this equals 40560 plus 54795. And then our total cost to account for then are those three numbers added up, $435,244. We have to be able to take those costs and apply it to different areas, the ending inventory, what was transferred out, etc. Okay. Now, we need to be able to divide all of our units up into three categories. Category 1 is your beginning inventory. Category 2 is what we call started and completed. And category 3 will be ending inventory. Okay, started and completed. I don't know where the boxes keep going here. Let's go ahead and give it a box. Okay, how many did we finish during this period? It tells us over here we finished 103,900 units. They're finished. That's why we transfer them out. So you can use that number here. Okay. We're going to assume that this is FIFO and that amount that was finished included our beginning inventory of 2,600 units. So if we want to know the number that was started and completed during the period, we can do a subtraction. So it's that minus that is 1013. Okay, I'm starting to catch on. Let me do something. Delete. Okay. Maybe that's right now. Still an extra box here. Ignore that. Okay, so now we have the started and completed. We are going to move on to our ending inventory. We know we started out with, again, 2,600 units. We started during the period 105,000 units. We finished 103.9. So here, if we take our beginning inventory, we add the amount we started, and then we subtract what we transferred out, the difference is what is still there, which is our ending inventory. Of course, we actually already knew that number. It was given to us over here, but you still need to understand the logic of how to calculate it, because you could hit a quiz question and it could give you any three of these four numbers and you need to calculate the other number. Okay. Here we're getting for the cost for the month excluding beginning inventory costs. We're just repeating things we already know. These three numbers right here we're going to type in. Okay, so that column, let's see, 330-550, 40560, and 54795. Okay, so the total costs applied this month, we will just sum those up, and it's having issues now, $426,105 total cost. Okay, so we really haven't gotten to any answers yet, but we're organizing our information here. Okay, now let's go up to the top right here. This is where we start getting into a little bit more of the details of how we're going to get our answers. Notice this says whole units. I put from the back in here just a minute ago. Your printout doesn't say from the back, but I promise it is. And what we mean by back, actually, remember this is originally a sheet that's printed out for classroom use. The back is the second half, starting down here. So I mean this down here. Okay, so beginning inventory, we can go to the back or the bottom part of the sheet and know that we had 2,600 units already in beginning inventory. Yes, we can get it there also. There are multiple places we can get some of this. Our started and completed number, though, we get that from the bottom half of this. That is 1013. If we add together the amount we started with plus our started and completed, we get the 1039. That is the amount transferred out. We can see that right here. Now we can put our ending inventory in here that we calculated. We also knew it as well. Take the amount that was transferred out, add to it the ending inventory, and you get the 1076. This is the number we said we needed to account for. Come down here and I'll show you. 1076 total units to account for. There they are. Now, by definition, well, forget that for a second. Let's move up to beginning inventory. We're going to work across. We are going to calculate how many direct material equivalent units we have completed this period. Okay, this 2,600 was already in process. We're going to assume in this textbook that once something is in process, it has 100% of its materials. Therefore, if this was in process the prior period, this period we add 0 equivalent units of materials. We don't need any because it was already added last period. So 0% of 2,600 is simply 0. Now, started and completed, by definition, that means we put 100% in there. So 1013, we'll just repeat that number. Okay. We can add these top two rows. 0 plus 1013 is 1013. The ending inventory, because we're putting the direct materials insert exactly 100% into production at the same time, it is 100% of that, so we're going to add 3,700 right here. We can now take these bottom two numbers, this plus this. That gives us the number of direct materials equivalent units that we put into production this period, 105. Now I'm going to go ahead and just copy that 105 down here because that's what we're going to need. Now let's focus on conversion costs. Remember, this is our labor and overhead. These 2,600 units came to us, as it says, 35% complete. Okay, so what do we have to do this period to finish them? We have to do 65%. Okay, so to complete our equivalent units, we are going to take the 2600 and multiply it times 65%. We need 1690 equivalent units of conversion to complete our beginning inventory. Now, started and completed by definition is 100%, so we can just repeat that number. We can add those two together. The 1690 and the 1013 should give us 102990. Okay, now let's look at ending inventory. We have 3,700 whole units in production. Over here it says they are 80% complete. That 80% is what was done this period. Okay, so 80%. Yeah, this column again is all about what did we do this period. Here we chose 65 because it came to us 35% done. We needed 65% this period. The ending inventory, this 80% was done this period. So now we're going to take our whole units, multiply it times our 80%, and we need 2960 equivalent units of conversion, or we will apply that here for our ending inventory. Okay, now we're going to add these bottom two numbers, what we transferred out and what's still there. We had 105,950 equivalent units of conversion this period, and I'm going to take that number and drop it in right there. Okay, I'm going to check my recorder, make sure it's still happy.